Hey, what's up? Like, totally time for 90210.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the 90210 show. My name is Mark. With me, as always, is my fiance for maybe just a little bit more time.
I know, I can't believe how fast it's coming.
Carol, how are you doing today, Carol?
Hey, what's up?
Not much. It's been a good week here. It is February 5th, 1999.
It is?
What do you think?
What do I think about?
I think that the fundamental things apply, don't you?
Is that the name of the episode?
Fundamental things. Yeah. The fundamental things.
Sure.
Look for the fundamental things. Is that the right song?
No. You weirdo.
No, it's that's not Universal. Is it Paramount? Paramount's? I think it's Paramount's theme
What are you
song.
talking about?
Oh my God! How do you not know this?
I thought that was the Bare Necessities.
No, not
from the Jungle Book.
Not the bare necessities. The fundamental things apply. You know, as time goes by, the fundamental things apply as time goes by.
Isn't that from the movie As Time Goes By?
I believe it's actually from Casablanca. Maybe, I don't know. There might be a movie called As Time Goes By too. But they do the orchestral version of that at the beginning of one of them. It's either, I think it's Paramount. When the logo comes up in the movie theater, it's like da 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 da. It's the As Time Goes By.
Okay,
like they do that.
Sure. Sure they do.
Oh my God! You don't know that?
I'm just gonna smile and nod.
Did you know that When You Wish Upon a Star is the Disney theme thing?
Yeah.
When that's from that. Did you know that?
Yes, I did. Everybody knows that. I mean, everybody who cares anything about Disney, I guess.
But that's what I'm saying. Like the fucking it's from Casablanca.
Okay.
But
I believe you.
who made Casablanca?
I don't know, nor do I really care.
It's Warner Brothers.
Okay.
Yeah, Warner Brothers. The WB, where, by the way, Dawson's Creek and Buffy the Vampire Slayer air. And if you like those shows, like we like those shows, you can check out Slayer Talk and Horny Creek, two other tapes that we released. This has been a commercial, everyone. This bit was carefully written as a commercial.
Sure. So we're going to talk about a different show now called 90210.
Yeah, you guys probably like that one, right? Because you're listening to this tape.
So I don't know what the title, how that fits in today, but
As Time Goes By?
fundamental things.
The fundamental things, yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, I'm trying to
Because it's all about love, I guess.
Okay.
And people reuniting and deuniting and stuff. I don't know.
We just watched this. You think I'd have a better grip of it, but I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
It's about true love with the people that find each other and everything. I'm a cab driver. I don't want to ruin things. Yeah. Your favorite storyline.
So stupid. I don't know. I don't think there was anything in this episode that I liked.
You asked a question when we were watching this episode that I think must be posed. How is Tori Spelling getting worse at acting the more experience she's getting?
Yeah, it's really bad. Thank you for reminding me how the fucking show opened. So she's like working on, I don't know, some design stuff. And
she's designing clothes, and that woman that kissed her boyfriend is there.
Yeah. And she's telling her that she should model her clothes.
Uh-huh.
And then Noah comes in, and she tells him, this other woman tells him, she should have a fashion show, and she should model the clothes. And, like, it's like this whole thing where they're like, oh, yeah, great idea. And Donna's like, nope. And she's, like, doing all these huge, like, faces and movements. And, like, you can tell she's really trying to be funny in her refusal. Mm-hmm. But it's not funny. It just looks like really bad acting.
And it looks like she's on a high school stage.
Yeah.
Like trying to be the center of attention. Look at me. Like it even seems like she like looked over at the director and was like, frame me directly in the center of the shot. It's really weird.
Yeah. And like later they have her walking around on a runway and even that it's like she does it too big.
Yeah.
And I don't know. She used to be a decent dramatic actress.
Yeah.
Now for some reason she's trying to be a comedic actress and she's not.
No. She doesn't understand humor or have a good sense of comedic timing.
Or just of her I don't know, her body and the way that things look when she's moving. Like she just needs to chill it out. She's too big. Not physically, but in her
say.
She's
a very
acting.
small woman, but
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Too much acting.
Mm-hmm. Just tone it down and be yourself. Like, because you're not. That's what it is. I wonder if she's been doing some stage productions because she's acting more like she's on a stage trying to like project things out to an audience, whereas she's still on camera.
Maybe. I don't know. Even then, it's not great.
No.
I feel I'm more of a subtle actor. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm more bombastic.
No, you're. I mean, like, well, I don't know. It depends on the role. I think that whatever you're doing, you're good though. Like, I don't have ever have any complaints about your acting.
So check out my acting, everyone. I don't know where I'll be or what I'll be doing, but check it out.
Anyway, so Noah's funding this, right? Like this woman comes up with the idea to do a fashion show, and Noah's just like, "Oh, I'll just pay for the shit for you."
Yeah, you can use the After Dark. We'll hire some photographers and lighting people and all that stuff.
Just because this woman says one thing, that's weird.
Noah, you know what Noah's like.
Noah just no, I don't really. I mean, like, I think he's an asshole. That's and a muppet.
He just jumps whenever somebody suggests something. He's like, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
He's like, I mean, I'd like to have a rich friend like Noah. I'll tell you that much. I bought you a club. Oh, okay.
So she's like, I'm not ready. I don't have enough, clothes for this, and yada yada. But still, she's pushed.
Elaine from Seinfeld. That's what she wants to be. She wants to be Elaine from Seinfeld.
There you go.
She wants to be a Julia Louis-Dreyfus, but no one can be Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
That is true,
except for Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
So we'll get back to this because
we'll be back, everyone.
What else is going on in this show, though? There's
Do you need a mortgage?
Oh my god!
Call massive late fee mortgage lenders.
Brandon and Kelly,
are planning their wedding. Their big storyline. They have two big storylines, I guess. Well, they have.
I wouldn't call it a big storyline.
They have one big storyline and one storyline that's going on in the background of everything. Because every once in a while, Kelly will hang up on a cellular telephone call and be like, "Oh, my mother's brother's uncle's sister's friend," and it's like, she says my mother's brother. That's how she starts it out.
Which is her uncle.
Just say uncle.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to plan their wedding, and it's all spiraling out of control as weddings sometimes do, as we can relate to, everyone.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't even think about this, but we know the title of the next episode of I almost said Saved by the Bell of 90210.
Oh my god! Did you just travel back in time
of 90210? Because obviously we're a little bit behind, less than a year now behind 90210 in real time. But the next episode is the wedding, and that will be after our wedding.
Oh, weird!
It's coinciding.
We're getting
the worlds
married
are colliding
at the same time. Oh my gosh!
I didn't even plan that, but that's how it's happening. I didn't look into the when we were planning this. I didn't look weeks into the future and be like, "Hey, when's the wedding episode?" Anyway, so they're planning their wedding and everything, and she says my mother's brother's wife's sister.
So her aunt's. Her aunt by marriage's sister.
Even though it's by marriage, you would still say your aunt.
Yeah.
You'd say you could say my aunt's sister. And then everyone would understand, oh, that must be an aunt by marriage. Because if it wasn't by marriage, your aunt's sister would be your other aunt or your mom.
Right. But yeah, so she's, yes, planning the wedding in the background. And they don't really talk about it much. It's not really focused on...
They talk that like it's all vague, like couple lines here and there where it's like, oh, there's so much to plan. Oh, there's fucking napkins and flowers and there. Every time we open a scene, one of them is getting off of a phone, being like, "Yes, of course, the roses, dozens of them," you know, and then Brandon hangs up the phone and then goes into the scene of something else happening. Mm-hmm. And at the very beginning, the most airtime it gets is at the very beginning when he's got his big list and he's going up to Steve and Steve's like, oh, it's your honeydew list. Why don't you go golfing with me and this woman I want to fuck? And it's like, yeah, that sounds fun. And he's like, he goes down the list and he's like, oh, chicken or fish and all this stuff. He's like, and ask Steve to be your best man. And he's like, well, it's above the food choice or whatever, you know. And it's like, oh my God, Brandon.
Yeah, this was another like kind of gag me with a spoon kind of scene. Like,
yeah.
It was not anything good in this episode.
But anyway, so that's the most it gets. So they're trying to plan their thing in the background. But the main story that they're involved in involves refugees from Sarajevo.
Because Kelly is at work at the clinic.
Yeah.
And a cab driver runs in and says, oh, I was driving this woman to the hospital to have her baby, and she had it in my cab. I delivered the baby. And it turns out that he's actually a doctor.
Yeah.
From
Sarajevo.
Yeah. See, I couldn't say it. I let you say it.
Okay. Sarajevo.
And Kelly can't ever just let anything happen in life without jumping in and getting involved. So
right.
She hears, why, you're a doctor and you're driving a cab. How can this be? Let me fix your life. Mm-hmm. And she's like, talks to Brandon about it. And like, oh, hey, do a story. And it's always like this. It's like Kelly runs into some person who she thinks needs her help, whether they do or not. And then she drags Brandon in, hey, cover a story. And then while you're doing that, I'll fix everything.
Right.
It's annoying. They could have their own little sitcom off on the side, and it would be just the standard episode every single time. Yep. And that's more what it feels like. And this whole episode, all of the acting, really, it seemed like a soap opera. Like
it was impressively bad. I will get into it a little bit more when we talk about Steve's story and that woman they hired to be Steve's love interest, because, oh my God.
She's awful.
I have things to say about that for sure. I mean, I guess we can just get into it. Like, there's at one point, they're on the golf course, and she's like, he's like, man, you're really good at golf or whatever. She's like, yeah, I am. I learned it from my husband. And then they just look at each other, and he's like, you mean like husband? No. And then she comes in, and she's like, and then she backs up, and she goes, separated husband. And that's how she delivers all her lines. All her lines are the most... I was like, is she supposed to be a Stepford wife? What is going on?
The pauses and the long looks... It is exactly like a soap opera. Maybe she came from a soap opera, like one of those daytime ones. But
I think she came from a laboratory where she was built out of robot parts.
Oh my God. But it's like they're pausing for that dramatic music that they do sometimes.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
But there's no dramatic music.
But it's just every line delivery is flat, almost emotionless.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she sounds like a zombie.
It's awful.
It was just so bad. It makes me sad. Like, I want to go back and watch season 1 again just to feel good about the show again. To remember that once it was something. It's nothing now.
Oh my God.
They killed it. And they won't just let it die either.
No, so they're airing, season 9's airing right now. We are almost done with season 8. Next episode is the finale of season 8. And then we're going to move on to season 9, the season currently airing. We've been taping them on our VCR, so we'll be able to catch up. I have heard they've gotten renewed for another season.
No.
So there's going to be a season 10.
No more.
I think, I don't know what's going to happen, but I think it makes a lot of sense. It's still a big ratings, juggernaut or whatever. Although I think it's lost some viewership over the years. But I think it would make a lot of sense if they ended it 10 years. 10 seasons, 1990, 2000.
Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
All of the 90s.
Exactly.
Yeah. Sure.
So, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But if that's the case, then we're almost done with this.
Yeah. But yeah, so Steve is golfing with this woman and finds out she's separated from her husband, but still makes out with her. Mm-hmm. And then, like, he has a little conversation about it with Brandon. Mm-hmm. And just is basically like, okay, well, I guess it's fine because they're separated.
Yeah. I mean, he talks to Brandon and Kelly about it. Mm-hmm. And Brandon's like, do you want to keep seeing her? And he's like, yeah. And they're both like, well, there's your answer.
Yeah.
And he's like, shouldn't I be worried or whatever? And Kelly's like, well, being married is a big thing or whatever. I'd be careful. But, that neither of them think that it's morally reprehensible or anything like that. And I guess I don't either. If they're, if they're actually separated, I don't think that that's a big deal.
So, and especially I think it's more of a question on her end, whether it's moral or not, because she's the one that's married.
Well, and we learn because they go out to dinner. They have we have there's 3 or 4 scenes with them.
This is a fairly decent storyline.
Yeah. But they go out to dinner and everything. And she's like, he says, if you don't mind me asking, she keeps talking about her husband.
She keeps calling him my husband too.
Yeah. And he says, if you don't mind me asking, why did you guys separate? And she said he cheated on her. So that's a big thing. And he was like, oh, my buddy says, or my buddy cheated on his girlfriend too, but she ended up forgiving him. And she's like, yeah, I couldn't do that. And Steve's like, well, I guess selfishly that I'm glad or whatever. I'm glad your life's ruined.
But yeah, he's like, my buddy, it's Brandon. It's obvious, and they were talking about Brandon in the same conversation, yet he disguises it.
She's never met him.
Brandon?
Yeah.
I thought they had.
No.
Oh, okay, whatever.
I think you're looking for conspiracy where there is none. And then, the last scene that they have together is she says, hey, listen, or I'm sorry, she goes, hey, listen, my husband wants me to go to marriage counseling, and I've agreed to. Mm-hmm. And he's like, oh my gosh, this is so weird. I'm going to be dating a woman that's in couples counseling with her husband or whatever. First of all, I would assume that this is her breaking up.
Yeah,
with
me too. 100%.
And she goes, do you think we can still date while I'm in couples counseling? Just like that, by the way. And he's like, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, she's a bad actress. This is supposed to be delivered do you really think we can still
yeah.
Are you an idiot? And he's like, I don't know. Do you want to or whatever? And she's like, I want to. I just don't know the ground rules. I've never done something like this before. And it's like, they had, oh, by the way, previous to that, they had sex.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was really, kind of, forceful about it. I didn't like it. He was manipulative. She was kind of like, I'm not comfortable with this because I'm married. And he's like, oh, come on, who cares? He takes off her jacket while they're outside kissing.
Yeah.
What the hell? That's a weird thing to do.
The whole thing was weird.
And then, she had her keys in her hand, and he takes the keys and unlocks the door and opens the door. And so then she, pulls him in, and they obviously are going to have sex. But it just seemed very, pushy.
Yeah.
And I did not like that.
It was so funny, though, because right after that scene, their next scene together, she's like, I'm going to couples counseling. And,
yeah.
And you were like, oh, sex wasn't that good.
Yeah.
But anyway, so but I guess that's not it, because she's like, I want to continue seeing you or whatever. And they were like, well, let's continue seeing each other.
So I'm going to keep fucking you and
go
to counseling to try to fix my marriage.
Yeah. I wonder what your couples counselor will think about that.
Right? Crazy.
That doesn't seem like you're putting the full effort into trying to fix your marriage.
Not at all. If she's going to keep dating Steve, she should just tell her husband that she wants to get divorced.
Yeah, because what's the point of exploring another relationship? You can't 100% do either thing. Mm-hmm. You either have to 100% commit to trying to save your marriage. Not that I think that that's what you should do in this situation. That's in everyone's individual choice.
Right.
If you've gotten cheated on or whatever, or if you ever get cheated on in the future, everyone deals with that in their own way. So you have to decide whether or not that's something you can forgive or not. But if you're going to try to, you have to fully commit to that. And if you can't, if you want to explore things with this other guy, you have to fully commit to that. You can't have 1 foot in one and 1 foot in the other. It just doesn't work.
Well, and eventually one will win over the other, and somebody's going to get hurt. And,
sure.
my guess is it'll be Steve, because
100%, yeah.
The marriage is stronger than the one time they've had sex.
Well, this woman's not for the long haul for this show.
I hope not. I mean, how can they have had... What was the one that she just left to go to a movie that he'd been dating? What was her name? The actress.
I don't remember. What do you mean left to go to a movie? Oh, Hilary Swank.
Yeah. How can they replace somebody with
right.
Hilary Swank's level of acting with this like mannequin that moves and speaks?
Oh yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, that's right. She's going to be in a movie called Boys Don't Cry. We'll watch. Probably.
We'll definitely have to see that one
because it has a 90210 connection. So we'll watch.
Yeah, we're gonna follow all of their careers forever.
We're already watching Charmed with Shannon Doherty.
Yeah, that's just for us.
We just haven't decided to watch a tape of Charmed, to make a tape about Charmed, but we're very charmed by her acting.
So
that's Steve's storyline.
Steve's gonna keep dating the married woman who's in counseling. Now this episode has really I feel like the writers either don't know their characters or don't care about the characters that they've made.
Yeah,
because
we never finished Brandon and Brandon and Kelly's
how did we get so distracted
about the? I don't know if you want to talk about that or not.
Yeah, let's finish that.
Okay. So the cabbie comes in having delivered a baby.
Yeah, so she sets him up to talk to Brandon, and Brandon, interviews him and finds out that he was injured.
I survived the bombing in Bosnia-Herzegovina. Syria was the capital of Bosnia and Herzegovina.
And he was brought to the United States as a refugee.
Yeah.
And, he's legally there as a refugee.
He got legal refugee status because, he was... Probably because he has a medical degree.
Probably. But he chooses not to use it because, I don't know. Because
he drives a cab.
He's depressed because he lost his wife. He thinks that she's dead.
And they are trying to find her. And they've done all the... I didn't even know that there were all these different things. But they contacted the State Department. They contacted the Refugee Center. They checked with churches and stuff like that. I didn't realize you could register yourself with a church or whatever if you're refugee status, but I guess that makes sense.
I imagine there are some churches that shelter them, maybe, or
right. And they can't find any trace of her. And he's like, "I don't want to be a doctor without her because she's dead." And he's like, "You don't know that." Brandon says, "You don't know that." And he goes, "Yes, I do, because I am registered with the churches and the whatever, whatever." And Brandon's like, "Oh, you're easy to find." He's like, "Yeah, if she was alive, she'd be trying to be found like me or whatever."
Yeah, she'd find me.
Which makes a lot of sense.
So the question then becomes, why didn't she? Because they find her. They find her. They bring her in.
It's all about... So they start talking about that moment. That moment this is your person or whatever, right? And Kelly's like, I knew that moment when I found out you kept the ring, or whatever, and I don't know, it's dumb. But
when you kept this souvenir of when I broke your heart in a million pieces, that's when I knew you were my person. Because she's a villain. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway,
but so Brandon remembers that she loved the ballet, so he checks with the ballet.
This is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard of in my life.
And he finds her working at a ballet in Chicago. She says the reason she didn't even look for him is because she was told he died.
Who told her that?
I don't know.
Some guy who was trying to sleep with her? What the fuck? It's just weird.
I just got the image of just some random fucking guy on the street or whatever being like, I'm looking for my husband. Oh, he's dead. What? I checked with the refugee status. He's dead. You don't know his name. What's his name again? Nah, he's dead. I know all the dead ones.
Oh my God.
Would you like some coffee?
This is so weird, though. It's like if you and I got separated in some kind of terrible crisis. like, I feel like we would put more effort into finding each other.
Well, I agree. I feel like if someone was like, "Oh, she's dead," I'd be like, "Oh, where's the body?"
Yeah.
Oh, we don't know. Well, then why would I believe she's dead?
Very weird.
Is she registered anywhere? Oh, yeah, it turns out she's registered everywhere.
So, yeah, so of course, you know,
He's
Kelly...
driving a cab in Los Angeles. That's as good as dead.
Dear Lord. But yeah, of course, Kelly has, you know, stepped in and been the savior again because, you know, she's a meddler.
White people to the rescue. That is the subtitle of 90210. Beverly Hills 90210, white people to the rescue.
It's ridiculous. Ridiculous. And the fact that they found her through the ballet, like, how many ballet companies are there? That's so stupid. They're in Beverly Hills, and they found her in Chicago. It's dumb. Like, everything about it is just so dumb.
What did Brandon do, by the way, too? Did you see, like, he went to the Yellow Pages and he started calling ballet companies and was like, "Can you give me the names of every employee that works there?"
Did she work with the ballet before?
They met at the ballet and they loved the ballet.
So she didn't work there.
She was a doctor.
So what the fuck? Like, why would you assume she's working with the ballet?
Why wouldn't you assume she was a doctor? By the way, would you want one of these people to be your doctor after a while? People that loved the medicine so much they gave it up.
Right.
No, I don't want to help people. I want to sew costumes
and drive a cab. I don't know. It's whatever.
Yeah. Not that being a cab driver or being a seamstress is a ignoble or bad job. Those are good jobs, but if you've been trained to be a doctor,
then you would be a doctor. That's so much work.
Yeah.
So I was very frustrated by this. And yeah, the whole thing behind this is like, oh, you know, you have a moment and you just know you're supposed to be with somebody and whatever.
Yeah.
This is not that.
No.
And so they talk about how much they loved their wedding. Mm-hmm. And she's like, yes, it was a loaf of bread and a bottle of wine, and that was our wedding.
It was the best wedding ever. And then they look at each other and they look at the phone and they're like, a loaf of bread and a bottle of wine, huh? All right. So the wedding next week is going to be a small affair, I assume.
Yeah. It's whatever. Like, everything
Ours is
about
going to
this
be a big affair.
Drives me crazy.
I'm riding in on an elephant.
He is not. It will be a medium affair.
Yeah, medium.
Yeah, like 80 people.
There's around there. There's 2 other storylines, I guess.
Well, we got to finish Donna's. I guess we could just finish it because in reality, it doesn't really interfere with anything.
That's the one I was thinking of. The finishing of Donna's storyline, and then Valerie and David, their storyline.
So this bitch who wants Noah is walking around with her arm in a cast, by the way, still from Ricochet.
I love you act like she shouldn't be. She's walking around with her arm in a cast like a fucking temptress. Because every guy's like, oh my God, her arm's in a sling. Oh my God.
Well, at one point, her and David like run into each other, and he's like, "Hey, sorry about shooting you again." And she's like, "Oh, no problem. It's okay. I understand." And like,
we've all been there.
And they,
by the way, David got a year's probation. That's it. It's just we're not even going to have a community service storyline. It's just a throwaway. You got a year's probation.
Yeah. And she's like, "It's better than it could have been," because he's mad about it.
Right.
He's mad about that. Because it was an accident.
He's an asshole.
I hate him right now. Like,
I know.
they need to fix him.
I do too.
He was one of the characters I actually liked.
But anyway, so she wants to fuck Noah.
So she's trying to cause problems with them and like get rid of Donna, whatever. And she like asks Valerie, like, "Hey, I heard you're good at fucking shit up."
Yeah, like, how does she know? Has she watched the show? Like, how does she know all this stuff already?
And she's like, "How would I go about, messing with Donna, basically?" Like, I don't remember exactly how she puts it, but I mean, it's basically what she's asking. Yeah. And she's like, "Well, that's a nice shirt. You wouldn't want to spill something on it." That's all she says to her. Yeah. And it's like, and they do the long pause stare where it's like you can imagine the evil, intense music, but there isn't any.
Yeah, they need Ron Jones for this show.
What's that?
It's a person.
Okay, what do they do?
My God. Who is Ron Jones and what do they do? Like, who was your daddy and what does he do?
Yeah.
Ron Jones is a composer, a musical composer. He does. He worked on Star Trek, The Next Generation, but he's a good composer.
Yeah, they need something.
He did very good evil music for Star Trek. So,
but it also reminded me of a scene you'd see in a daytime soap opera with the two characters just conspiring together, and the storyline's soap opera-ish. So. Yeah, so she's going to spill something on the clothes, I guess, at the fashion show is the whole plan.
Which she does, yeah. Her models are walking around and everything, and then she comes to Donna and she's like, one of the models is going to put on this clothes and red wine got spilled on it. And
on a wedding dress.
And she's like, oh my goodness. And she's like, yeah, and there's red wine spilled on all the clothes.
and yet...
Must have been an accident.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that was stupid, too. It's like, that's so obviously sabotage.
Yeah.
It could have been an accident if it had been one thing.
You know where that term comes from, by the way? The Japanese working in shoe factories way back when to protest their conditions. They would take off their shoes or sabo and throw them into the works so that the gears and stuff would stop.
Oh,
So they called that sabotage.
interesting. Did not know that.
That's also from Star Trek.
Thank you for the lesson.
Or not Kirstie Alley. Would have been Kirstie Alley, but she didn't want to come back for it. Kim Cattrall taught me that in Star Trek 6.
Interesting.
The Undiscovered Country.
So Donna's freaking out. I told you I wasn't ready. What does this have to do with you being ready or not?
Yeah, because you didn't have backup wine-proof dresses.
Like, yeah, I don't get it. Everything was going great. She had models. The fashion show was happening. So it's not even like it didn't happen. It's not like she
Her
ruined
hair
everything.
looked good,
Yeah.
for once.
Yeah, she did look very pretty. You're right.
They permed her hair.
Well, they didn't perm it. I'm sure it'll be straight again. If it was perm, it would stay that way. She
Well, her
just
hair
did it
was
with
curled.
like rollers, probably.
I don't know anything about hair, okay? Whatever. Her hair was
Anyway,
curly.
She had curly hair. And it looked very cute. So her and Noah get in a fight about the fact that she wasn't ready and he pushed her into doing this.
She's like, stop, Noah. He's like, I'm just trying to help. That was the whole plan because, she's like, if disaster struck, Valerie was like, you always strike out at the one you love or whatever, So, like, that's their plan to sow doubt. Well, that's her plan to sow doubt.
And, she kept pushing Donna to model in this thing.
Yeah, I thought that was going to come back.
Right. It didn't. What was the point of that?
I don't know.
Maybe just to get her away so she could talk to Noah alone, I guess.
I guess, but it's so dumb.
Well, and he was just watching her and, like, thinking she's hot and shit. Like,
Maybe she wanted him to get jealous and it didn't work. Maybe that was supposed to be the thing.
maybe. But yeah, so it's very stupid. They get in the fight. And then the girl can't live with it. And she's mad at Valerie. She asked Valerie for advice. Valerie didn't come up and be like, hey, you should do this.
I should never have listened to you. And
I
it's
can't
like,
live with myself.
It's like, well, then I guess you shouldn't have fucking done it, Valerie.
Right. Like, Valerie doesn't give a shit. She's not invested in this. And so the girl goes and tells Noah what she did.
No, Noah overhears.
Oh.
And Noah,
you're right.
And Noah confronts her. And she's like, I'm glad it's out in the open now. And he's like, yeah, maybe you should leave. Maybe your guest contract is up now.
Yeah, get the fuck out.
So she does. But then him and Tori Spelling,
No.
Donna, get into a fight.
No, because her and him, though, this girl, they make up. Like, she's like, you can't stay mad at me. And he's like, no, I forgive you and stuff.
He's like, yeah, you're my friend. I'm not going to turn my back on you and everything. I'm not going to abandon you.
And
but what you did was, kind of dumb. And, like, Donna and I are together. And, and she's like, I saw that magazine article about you being an eligible bachelor. And I was like, I'm going to fuck him. And then,
this is my time.
And then Donna was here.
And so then he tries to talk to Donna, and he tells her that he's still going to be friends with this lady, and that's why they fight.
Yeah, Donna's like, she's a fucking bitch, like, kill her or whatever. Let Brandon put her on the pile. And he's like, no.
I'm not giving up my friend.
That pile is too big anyway.
So, yeah, so him and Donna are fighting now. So what do you think's going to happen here? Do you think him and this other bitchy chick are going to get together? Or?
I hope so. I hope that they break up. And Donna and him break up, and then he gets with the bitchy chick, and they both move to San Francisco, and they're both gone from the show.
That would be amazing. Get rid of the Muppet.
There are too many people on this show. It started out very, very simply with 3 and 3, and we could have lived with that.
Yes.
But no. I guess 4 and 3? Were there 3 and 3? There were 4 and 3.
I don't know.
Donna, Kelly,
Brenda,
Andrea, and then the 3 guys.
Yeah. Okay, so final storyline that makes me...
Final episode. This is the final... we were done.
We're done. We give up. So David's being a complete fucking asshole to Valerie.
Yeah.
And
it started last episode where he was like, you should just fucking get over being raped and get over your dad molesting you. Why do you always focus on the bad things? Like your molestation. Your rape.
Yeah, he's an ass.
This is what happens when David doesn't get sex regularly enough.
Yeah, he does turn into an asshole whenever they're not having enough sex. You're right.
Yeah.
So,
but as you pointed out, I think this is mostly them needing a character to be a certain way. That's my biggest complaint about this show is the lack of character consistency.
Yeah. So he's stressed out about money because this job bounced a check. He wrote a jingle for some store, and they wrote him a $2,000 check that bounced, so he can't pay his bills.
Right.
And he's taking that out on Valerie because strike out at the one you love, like you said.
Yeah.
And Valerie has to move because Brandon and Kelly are getting married.
Right. So she's getting kicked out.
Yeah. So she would
I guess Steve has to move too, then?
I guess he hasn't mentioned that, but that should definitely also be a thing.
Yeah.
So she says, I was thinking maybe I could just move in with you.
And he's like,
No. Not happening. He didn't even kind of, you think about it. He was just like, no.
Yep.
So she's trying to find somewhere to live that she can afford. She's fucking sleeping on the couch at the club right now, already. Mm-hmm. Did they just, throw her shit on the lawn? Why is she sleeping at the club?
I don't know. But I understand why she hates Kelly so much, though.
Yeah. And the whole time, David's just like, oh, sorry, whatever. I don't care about you.
Yeah, and he at one point he comes up to her and he's like, we need to have a talk or whatever, and she's like, oh, I'm not gonna like this talk, and he was like, we need to break up, basically.
Yeah, and for the reasons that were just stated, because basically they're not having enough sex.
Yeah, because she's too focused on. He's like, you got to get over this rape, and it's like, how long ago was this supposed to have happened? It's definitely less than a year.
Yeah.
I don't know what the statute of limitations are to get over being raped, but what the fuck, David? Can you relate?
Right?
Why don't you go to prison for one of the crimes you committed? Have a guy rape you, and then when you come out, I can be like, hey, just get over it.
Yeah, it's been long enough, man.
Yeah, it's been a week, asshole.
Yeah, I hate him right now. So,
and I don't believe this is not that's the other thing too. With the character consistency, this is not consistent with the character that we have known thus far.
Agreed. Not at all how David would handle this.
No, the David as written before would be much more sensitive and understanding of this. I mean, he was with Donna for how many years without having sex? Right?
That's a very, very good point. So, and he's kind of becoming unhinged, the way he's acting and stuff.
And I'm wondering if they're leading up to he's going to have some kind of mental break or something like that, then I guess maybe this is worth it. It makes some modicum of sense, but right. I don't know.
Because he hears the jingle that he wrote on the radio, and he's like, they're not going to use the jingle that, they didn't pay me for. And he calls the radio station, and that's just watching the whole time, looking oh, man, he's fucked up.
That's I got to milk this one scene they give me.
He does some genuine acting, though.
He does. He's
it's not too big. It's subtle. I know what he's feeling. I know what he's thinking.
He's a good actor.
Yeah. Joey Tata. So he's on the phone like, stop playing this. You got to put me on the air so I can tell everybody how he didn't pay me. And they're like, he sponsors the show.
Yeah, they're paying us. We're not going to have somebody slander our... Are you an idiot? He keeps saying, too, I'm going to call a lawyer and everything.
Like, do that.
Yeah. Like,
that would make sense.
Why don't you reach out to one of the many Jewish lawyers you probably know?
Right? Oh, that's bad. So then he goes to the store a couple different times throughout the episode and is talking to this one sales girl. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I don't know what I can do to help you. But eventually she tells him where he can find the guy.
She's like, look, I'm on your side, on this or whatever. And I'm thinking, the whole time I'm thinking, okay, this storyline's going to lead up to something. It's going to lead up to this store is not doing as well as they said it was doing or whatever. They're going out of business. Blah, 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 blah. Like, it's, they fucking tricked him or something. Like, it's going to be something like that, right? No. Instead, he comes in and he's like, hey, I'm just broke up with my girlfriend because she got raped. You know what it's like. And and I need a whole new look. My buddy's getting married. I want to try to fuck some bridesmaids. And the guy's like, oh, let's do it. Well, how much are you looking to spend? He's like, money's no object. By the way, in Beverly Hills, saying money's no object, I would assume you'd spend a lot more in 2000.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
But instead, he gets rung up, and he's like, that'll be $1,995.98. And he's like, all right, let me grab my check here. And he takes out the check for $2,000, and he's like, was this some kind of joke?
Yeah, like he's so like mad about it. It's kind of funny.
And that's when David's like, no, like you're going to fucking pay me one way or the other. This check bounced, fucking pay me. Why not just go up to him and ask for cash? Like,
yeah,
I don't understand. But he's like, enjoy your clothes. And so he takes the new clothes.
So, yeah. So even though he was all stressed because he needed that money, he took clothes instead.
I don't know that he necessarily needed that money. Like,
well, he's just pissed.
Yeah, he was just angry that he wasn't getting paid, which I guess I kind of understand.
Not getting paid, not getting sex makes David an unhappy dude.
Although he did say, put this on my tab net or whatever. He's like my ever-growing tab.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it does kind of hint that he's maybe having some money problems.
He's always having money problems.
But anyway, call some of those Jewish bankers, and get a loan.
Oh, my God. Jeez. So what's going on? Is Valerie has nowhere to stay when we end this episode, right? She's sleeping in the club, and that's where that ends. Yeah. And by the way, like, poor girl is sleeping on the couch that she got raped on.
Yeah.
And talking to the dude who raped her.
And everything's fine between the two of them.
Which is weird.
I think is really weird. And also, I guess she didn't get that money.
Yeah. I guess not, because she can't afford to go anywhere.
Yeah, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, Mr. Moneybags should be giving her some money to go find somewhere to stay instead of letting her sleep on the couch in the club.
And how do you just overturn a civil suit like that, where you won a judgment? Yeah, I know it came out afterwards, but after the trial was over that he didn't do it.
But he did do it. He just didn't give her the drugs.
Yeah, he wasn't the one that drugged her.
She was incapacitated and he had sex with her, which is still wrong.
Well, yeah, for sure. But how does he just not have to pay? I don't understand.
I don't get it either.
Explain it to us, show.
I would love to talk to the writers. I would love to have some kind of sit down with all of our questions and get some answers. Ugh.
But there's one other thing that happens.
What?
It's how we end the show.
How do we end the show? I don't remember.
There's a photographer taking pictures of the models and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And at one point, he comes up to Valerie and he's like, oh, when I first saw you, I thought you were one of the models. And she was like, save it.
Yeah. She
had just broken up with David and she's like, whatever, fuck off, basically. Right. And afterwards, she's sitting there, this is the end of the episode now. The shooting's all been done and everything. And Valerie's sitting there and he's like, hey, you look sad or whatever. Could my penis cheer you up? Says something like that. And she's like, all right, let's go to my place or let's go to your place or whatever.
Yeah, because she needs somewhere to sleep. Mm-hmm. I really feel like that's why she agreed to this, so she could sleep in a bed.
So they have sex. She sleeps in a bed she didn't get raped in. And she wakes up. He's like getting dressed and everything. He's like, yeah, I got to go somewhere or whatever. He's like, we said nothing serious, right? Just casual. And she was like, yeah. And he's like, cool. I'll see you around then.
Yeah,
So
you can let yourself out.
He's just the guy that likes to fuck women.
Yeah. I always think this is dumb, though. Like, you see this on TV all the time where, like, people have a one-night stand and then they're like, I gotta go to work. You can, hang out and let yourself out or whatever. And either A, they come back and the person is still there and they want them gone.
Right.
Or B, they rob them.
And that's why I was waiting for Valerie to be like, well, what can I take of value?
Right, which would make total sense. And I feel like that's what she was looking for.
Or she could be like, I'll take a key and I'll live in your walls. But yeah, she starts looking through his drawers and she sees a weird, like, a valise or something like that. So she opens it up and there's just, like, this dude must be really rich because there's just fucking baggies filled with heroin. There's probably, I don't know, maybe like $20,000 or $30,000 worth of heroin just chilling out there, and tubes, for tying off and everything, syringes, all that shit.
Yeah. And she was
Cotton balls.
She's absolutely freaking out about this. And I didn't get it at first. Why?
Yeah, I didn't either. I thought, does she think that she got drugged? Because that's not heroin, but that's supposed to be heroin. Mm-hmm. That's what the writers think heroin looks like. I guess it's China white. I don't know. Heroin's not quite as bright white as that usually. I not that I know a lot about heroin. I would
hope not.
I often just casually drop China white into conversations. Is that a hair? I don't even know if that's a heroin. Anyway, so I've had friends. So she's on the phone with her doctor or whatever, and she's like, "Yeah, I was I had unprotected sex with a guy that is a intravenous drug user," and that's when I got it. I was like, "Oh, they love talking about AIDS on this show."
Yeah. So
and she's like, "I don't know if he shares needles," and I'm thinking, he doesn't fucking share. Like, did you see how much heroin he had? He's not sharing needles. Like, he's got enough money. And she's like, his HIV status, I don't know.
Like, Valerie, just go get tested. Chill out.
And that's what's going to happen. She's going to get tested, and it's going to be a whole episode of her, biting her nails or whatever. She's going to be standing up in Brandon's wedding and being like, oh, my God.
But, I think it actually could take, years or at least months to show up, so I don't think it would really...
I don't know.
I don't think she'll really be totally clear, but...
But she doesn't have AIDS. They're not going to give one of the main characters AIDS.
Probably not.
And
it's a little too edgy for the show.
Right. And yeah, they're not going to turn it into Kids. Remember the movie
right.
Kids?
Oh my God, that was so awful.
But anyway, that is the episode though. That's everything.
It is. So you can write us at latefee1994 at AOL.com.
I thought we were going to become equals since we're going to get married. You wanted me to still tell you what to do?
So for those
Carol,
of you...
tell the people what... Yeah, what?
Anyway, you can write us at latefee1994 at AOL.com. Check out our website at www.retrolatefee.com.
Yes.
And share the tapes with your friends.
All right, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.